Hello, hello, and Happy New Year. So happy to see your beautiful faces. Excited to get to be with you today for our first all access call of this new year. And I know I got to see some of you this week on the leverage call. Some of you just had your first ELA call of the new year. Welcome back. This is a spot for you to get your questions answered and for you to just show up exactly as you are. Totally welcome to just breathe into whatever is happening for you. So the tension, the frustration, the joys and celebrations, all the feelings that come from growing your business, it's all welcome here, and all of your questions are welcome. We're going to be spending most of the time today on, as always, just answering questions. That is always our focus on these calls. And I just wanted to touch into this feeling of new year. And there's a lot of talk out there around New Year is like new year, new you. And then that can translate to your business as well. Like, what do I need to do that's new? And it's not about destroying everything of who you are or recreating yourself anew. It's much more about accessing what really matters to you and what do you want to give your precious life energy to. And then how can you do more of those things with your time in your business? How do you get to choose to show up and do more of those things that really matter to you amidst all the things that you feel like you've got to do, that you have to do? So I've been noticing for myself a lot more freedom and spaciousness, just getting the year started and coming back into work schedule with giving myself more solo reflective time at the start of the day and really prioritizing that and setting myself up for the day with that spaciousness. So I just wanted to toss that as an idea. If you're feeling like, oh God, I'm already overwhelmed by all the things I have to do, how are you setting yourself up for being centered and being grounded when you begin your day? And that can look like 10 minutes of centering practice, whatever that is for you, whether it's dancing to a couple songs you love or meditating or walking around the block, or it could look like an hour or 2 hours. For me, I've been carving out more like that amount of time in the morning, right from when I get up. And that still means I'm sitting down and getting started with things by 9:30, sometimes earlier, 9, and feeling so resourced, so filled up from getting to move my body, feel my breath, and really be in myself all day long rather than waiting and putting that for later in the day. And these are practices I've done my whole life since I was a teenager, but I noticed that I go through waves where there's times I'll prioritize them. And in those times, I feel more resourced and more available and more, more able to focus on what matters. And really, I get more done too from that place. And the times when I feel like I'm too busy, then I don't get as much done and I feel frantic and I bring that energy into the day. So I think it was the Dalai Lama that says that on days where he feels like he has a lot to do, he'll meditate for twice as long as the days when he doesn't have as much to do. And I think that's so true that we could all take that to heart when we feel like, oh yeah, I don't have time for that. I have to do the Facebook Live, so I couldn't possibly do a movement practice. Or I couldn't get outside because I have to send my email. And how can you be living more from this place of choice and-ness rather than either-or-ness? So that's my toss to you, to get to explore more of that as you step into this new decade and new year with your business, not trying to recreate yourself and your business, but rather focusing on what do you know actually makes you feel good. And when you're feeling that way, your clients are going to be more attracted to you And they're going to start leaning in and saying, wonder what she's doing. What's she up to? So with that, I'd love to hear what you are up to and what your questions are. So feel free to start raising your hands on the virtual side panel. So I get to see who has questions, and we'll just get to dive right in. All right, Ashley, you raised your hand first. Hello. Oh, I think you might need to unmute yourself.
There we go. Hi, I'm pulling up a question I actually had in our ELA call this morning, but I didn't get to ask it, so I'll ask it here. Something that's been coming up is not always being sure when it's a potential client interview or a grow call, or when it might, me and Ava were talking about this, when it might segue into a grow call, with that being said, how transparent I'm being so that I don't waste anyone's time, that this is about them working with me, that it's not always just a free call. Because I've been feeling pretty balanced and good mostly. Today I'm feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed, but I'm sure it'll pass. I think it's hormonal and the full moon coming, but it's like, you know, so I guess that's the main question.
Clarify for a moment, Ashley. So it sounds like you're having conversations with potential clients, but they don't necessarily know that that's what the conversation is for.
There's such a variety going on right now. So I think it's going to get more clear with action and practice, and I understand that. Where I'm at right now, because I don't have a talk or an event until January 25th, but I do have a list of signature talks I'm going to start booking. So I know that's going to make this, it's going to give me more discovery calls. I'm not actually having that many yet because I don't have a lot of talks scheduled yet, but I'm working on that. I do have a lot of warm leads because I've had so many clients over the years, or people come to my workshops or buy something on Etsy, like a workbook or a mentor. So I've been diligent lately about organizing that, making sure they're on a list, touching base with them. And I do have a few potential client interviews scheduled tomorrow with old clients, and it is helpful for market research. I'm just hoping that I'm also a good fit for one of them or someone they know, because I've signed one 12-month client, but that money's almost gone. And I know it's not just about the money. Obviously, we need it. But so where I'm at right now, Claire's been coaching me. It's been great. It's to just keep on finding a way to have potential client interviews or grow conversation, discovery calls. And so for me, I'm doing that as best I can, but I feel like I'm having more potential client interviews than I am grow conversations, and not always being clear as to when it's what and how clear and transparent to be. And
Got it.
Struggle within that is is like how much many plan to give them versus just going into like how my program could help them.
Okay, because you're still in a phase with the potential client interviews, basically, where you're researching and gathering information about your ideal client.
Sort of. It's also more of a tactic to kind of check in with people. Yeah. And that's what's been suggested. It's like sometimes it's easier to book a market research call than it is to book a potentially work with me call. So yeah. I guess my biggest challenge right now is I don't have many grow conversations happening, but I do have some PCIs happening.
Great. So I think that would be your edge, to focus on actually being transparent about the potential of a grow conversation call, which you won't call it that for them, but for our clarity, the potential of having those kind of calls. And when you're offering those, you're offering them with a specific result in mind. So you're saying that we're going to create your mini plan for fill in the blank, or we're going to get you the number one next action that's for you. And this is for all of you to be able to fill this in on your own when you're doing a Facebook Live about this, or if you're sending an email or a message to someone, DMing someone, this is all sharing like, hey, I want to work with you one-on-one, and just give you a taste. It could be, you could say something like this: I want to give you a taste of what it's like to work with me as your coach. And, this is totally free, and it's an opportunity to get this one clear next action or create your mini plan. And then we'll find out if it could be a good fit to work together. So when you say that, you're setting a container right at the start. So when I do calls for people who are interested in coming into leverage or ELA, and people who are joining us from other, they might have been in events that change, what used to be events that change lives, or now Women Rocking the Stage, and then we're having a conversation about that. I'm always clear with, hey, this is a conversation about getting clear on what the next steps are for your business, and we'll find out if it might be a great next step for you to work with us in one of the year-long programs. And just when you say something like that right from the start, you don't get the pushback as much of like, wait a minute, this is a sales call. It can happen before you ever talk to them. They can decide not to talk to you because they're so like sticker shy of like, no, that's not, I don't want that. And that's okay too, because then you don't want to waste your time.
Right.
And to talk to people who are that much a no energy. But if they're at least open to the possibility, they're open to potential, they get on the phone. I've also had people get on the phone and say, yeah, I saw in your message that you're going to tell me about the program, but just to be clear, I'm not ready for that right now. So for any of you who have that happen, I just want to address this too. In that moment, you don't just say like, okay, thanks for letting me know, and, end the conversation. This is just knowing, oh, they have some block right at the start and you don't know what it is yet. And so over the course of the call, you're going to get to discover what's the block. Why aren't they ready? Are they working with someone else? And you can even ask like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm curious. Are you currently working with another coach, or what's happening for you that you're interested in having this conversation, but you know that you're not ready for a longer term support. So you just head into it a little bit differently that way. But these are some tools and strategies for just getting into that grow conversation and really setting the container with them. That's what the conversation is going to be about.
Right. And so, Claire suggested that I really prune my tree and focus primarily on filling my 12-month program consistently. And it does take a lot of steps and work to get there. It does take vulnerability to get on the phone with people and do this. But do you have any suggestions for how to actually get more discovery or grow calls going if I don't end up speaking for a few more weeks and I am touching base with past clients, but there are clients who are hiring organizers to come and do it for them? My virtual program is really how you can organize your life. And so I'm trying to only touch base with people who really seem like they might be a good fit, who would be open to it. Because it does take a lot of time. I've got hundreds of people I could check in with. So I'm being selective.
That's a good news.
Yeah. So I'm starting with 2019 clients and I'm emailing them, and I still have resistance around calling them, but I'm getting better about that. And besides that, it's like, where else could I be, how do I prioritize who I'm touching base with? How do I make sure they're warm leads or potential leads? Should I also be looking at where they're hanging out online or going and having flyers at bookstores? You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm actually having more grow conversations than I am right now.
Yeah. So I would say, and for any of you who are looking to have more grow conversations, here's a few places to look. So looking in those people who've bought something small from you in the past, for sure. So you have those already. You've got people who've had some in the door thing. And then you're inviting them into a conversation as like a New Year's gift, essentially. So let's start off the New Year with a one-on-one session for you to get your clear, organization clarity map or something that's like just really simple for you to say. And that's one, going back to the old clients, looking for people who you've already worked with on any bigger packages, any private work, and then suggesting if they have any friends that they would like to recommend this to. You want to send them like a coupon or a gift certificate that would just be for their friends, so they could pass it on via email.
Okay.
If there's anyone they would want to recommend. So that's another one.
And then do you give them any kind of incentive or?
Yeah. So if you want to do affiliate with people, then you'd be giving them an incentive of usually like 15% of a program like that.
Okay.
And obviously that's going to make it more interesting for them to be able to do it. And the other thing is to be able for you to be active online as well, and doing some pieces. Like I would recommend doing a couple Facebook Lives, and you're sharing about the breakthrough session, sharing about some client results that you've had, talking about how if this is one of their goals for the new year to get more organized, and that you've got a way to help them with that.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That's great. And last thing is, like, I've been very focused on, cluttered creatives, helping organize their best life, including their space. My second business, the module is tarot and Akashic readings. And I haven't really been focusing on that because I'm trying to just stay committed to this avenue. But sometimes I want to go and make a video where I'm using those modalities and leading with the results and benefits and inspiring people to come in that way. But would you advise that I kind of wait on that, because it kind of opens up a whole nother door, realm of organizing that clientele and demographic and how I even reach them? Because to me, I want people to know that when they work with me and they get these benefits and results of being more divinely ordered and guided and living their purpose and, thriving, that what makes that exciting is it's not just me coaching them, it's me bringing in their guides and ancestors and all of that. And I know we're not supposed to lead with modality. But sometimes lately I've been feeling like I'm leaving that so far off.
Yeah. So I wouldn't leave it out. Like, this is a way for you to start weaving into the conversation, even talking about that. If you were doing a Facebook Live saying, like, if you've been wanting to invite, I mean, you're talking to I'll just say transparently. So I just spent the whole last weekend, like 3 days, we like cleared everything in our home, and we have a small apartment, so it's not like a massive thing, but I did it with the intention of touching everything and tuning into like the temple of my home and what did I want for this home temple space, and inviting in Lakshmi and knowing that the energy of Lakshmi doesn't come into clutter. And for those of you who don't know, Lakshmi, like goddess of abundance. And so you're talking to someone who is that, like, who operates that way. And if that's who you want more of, they're going to want to see you pulling cards, sharing about those things. Other people who are like, I just want to organize my stuff. Like, you're polarizing. And I'm always a fan of polarizing, because I think you get to work with more fun people that you resonate with when you do it that way.
My Creatively Neat organizing brand is very much about organizing, but my like Ashley Moon artist personal kind of pages are way more esoteric. Yeah. And so I don't like that they're a little divided right now. I think it's going to take time for them to merge and for me to feel okay doing that.
I would say keep getting curious, and for all of you who feel like you're divided, because this is a common conversation. This is not just Ashley. I see some hands raising, and I hear it a lot. Like, I feel like I'm just like, yeah, Sarah, like splitting myself and I'm not showing all myself. Ask yourself the question of, how could I bring more of myself to what I'm doing? How can I, what is a way that I've X'd out this part of myself, that I've left her out of the conversation? How can I invite her back in, again, for New Year intentions? How can you share more of that?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for your questions. I know that our questions always help others, and these are great ones to get all of you started who are feeling like, I could really use some more discovery sessions and be more authentic. And these are two of the biggest themes here. So thank you, Ashley. Let's give you a kiss. And let's see, Kia, what about you?
Hey, so first I have to apologize because my audio is cutting in and out. So I don't know if it's just on my end or when.
Sounds good here.
If I go silent at some point, I
Okay.
apologize. So I raised my hand without totally knowing what my question was, but I've got my retreat in 2.5 weeks and I feel like I want to just like start digging a hole, right?
For
I'm
you
like,
to get into?
I gotta get on. I gotta like do something. So a little backstory, I had 15 people enrolled before Christmas, which was awesome. And then starting Saturday, between Saturday and Monday, it was like a waterfall of 5 people, bam, 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 saying, oh, damn it, I can't come now, and pulling out. So that left me feeling like not great on Monday morning when I got the last one.
Yeah.
So
Who else has had something like that happen? You're feeling all high vibes. I have had it so many times. And then they call.
And you're like, ah. And it's funny because I can totally rationalize it. Like 2 of them I know are like, they're not people who would sign up, but they would have been warm bodies and are enthusiastic about what I do. Like, so it just,
totally.
I can get in my head about it if I want to, but so I've doubled down on my efforts for like getting more butts and seats. I was talking to Jill yesterday. She's like, just Google events in the Bay Area and see where they're posted and like see all the free community boards to post. And so I spent an hour yesterday and I think I posted in like 8 community boards between Half Moon Bay and San Francisco and
awesome
and that kind of thing. I'm doubling efforts with my meetup group. I sent out emails to, I think it was like 16 people to be like, could you spread the word for me? I heard back from 8 of them. So they're reaching out to friends and doing like individual invitations and stuff like that. So it's happening. I haven't seen any of the fruits of those labors, but my plan is to just kind of keep going with that. So I guess one question is there something else that I'm missing that you can think of would be a great thing for me to do? And then the other question is, obviously I still have people coming. So I don't want to just ignore the retreat itself and put all my effort into the butts and seats. At what point do you sort of bless it off, regroup your mindset to be like, okay, instead of 25 people or 30 people, I'm going to have 8 or 10, and shift that so that I arrive in 2.5 weeks feeling fully present and prepared and like I'm showing up as my best self for these amazing women who will be there and not like half-assing it because I spent so much time trying to get other people to come.
Great question. Yes. Again, this is the event question all the time. Definitely for people with 3-day events, this is always the thing to look at. How do you balance these two? Mm-hmm. And so for you, I would say it's really, you're going to want to keep inviting people up until the last day.
Great.
So this period of time is actually the time when the most people are paying attention and could register. So let's just breathe into that as like, okay, this is the time that the most people, I know all those last minute deciders, this is not last minute to them. They've still got a couple of weeks. Right? Like that's lots of time for deciding. And in your world, that's just, why wouldn't they already have committed a couple months ago? Yeah. So it would make your life a lot easier. This is what we all think. And instead remaining open to what can I do to keep inviting these people in and spending a chunk of time every day, whatever is doable for you, whatever is reasonable for you, to be in those efforts. So that might be saying, I'm going to spend an hour a day on postings and reach out. And sometimes it'll be Facebook Lives or, like all the different ways that you can be reaching out virtually, calling people as well that could be a great fit, just allotting some time for that. You don't have to spend all day doing it, because the other important thing for you to be doing during this time is taking really good care of yourself and giving yourself that space to like be tuning in to what wants to come through, to writing things out, mapping out your structure for the workshop, doing handouts, like those kind of things. And so it is like doing it all kind of time, but the key is giving yourself these blocks of time where you're saying this block of time. And really what has helped me is on different days, I'll put those actions. So it'll be like, here's the day for making the event schedule. This is the thing I'm going to do in addition to reaching out to people and doing some posts for an hour. Here's the next day, I'm going to work on handouts for half of the day, and next day handouts for the next half of the day, and just those kind of things. So you really chunk it down to here are the actions that need to happen.
Awesome. That's helpful. I have a quick follow-up too to that then, where so I've got amazing people coming to my retreat to help me. So Sarah and Jill and Yvonne are all coming in and gonna help and like either teach a section or, you know, back me up or, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So Sarah and I were chatting today thinking of me sort of not really interviewing, but having a talking with her on a Facebook live stream, just being like, this is one of the experts that's going to be there. She's amazing. This is what she's going to be talking about. Here, let's introduce Sarah, blah, blah, blah. And then she can share it as well on her group. In doing that, you know, our idea was I'm sharing it on my business page, simultaneously streaming it into my groups. Mm-hmm. Then she would share it on her Facebook group, but is there a way for her to simultaneously stream as well? Or is it just, it's in mine and then it goes to hers?
So
start it in hers and then come to mine.
If you're sharing only into a private group, Sarah won't be able to share it into her private
business page.
Business page. Okay. No problem then. Okay. If it's on a business page, then at the time that it's live, then Sarah, you'd be able to just go onto Kia's business page, like right at the start when you're coming on, and you would have it open. Say if you're doing the interview on the computer, you'd have your phone open to Kia's business page. You'd see yourself popping up on there, and then you would just hit the share button and share it where you want to.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And you can
if
also
on the computer, same thing. I mean, phone versus computer. Okay.
Yeah, totally the same thing. It's just that it's often easy to have two different devices going. So you could be looking into one and interacting if need be. And then the other one you're able to navigate on. But you could have a couple different tabs open on your computer and do it that way.
And do you have advice about what would be the best thing for Sarah to be sharing it to? Her group, her page?
Yeah, so you'd share to your, well, either way, you could share to your business page and then from your business page to your group, and then it'll get to the most people.
And then I could also boost it, right?
Yes, you can boost it.
Okay, to my page sounds like the answer. Thanks for letting me dive in here.
Of course.
The Facebook web, right? Where you're
yeah. It's like we want to pull the right corner so the whole damn thing shifts.
Yes, exactly.
The whole wonderful, beautiful thing shifts.
Yes, get out in front of as many people as possible that way. And and so if you boost, this is another great way for any of you who are doing affiliate work with each other or with anybody. When you boost a post that you're posting for an affiliate, then it's going to get out there in front of more eyes. You're being an even bigger help. And sometimes what people will do as well, if they have a bigger budget for these kind of endeavors, is, you know, if I was going to ask someone to post something, like if I was asking Serena to post something to her community, I could say, hey, will you boost this? I'll give you $100 to boost it. Meaning not for her to keep, but like $100 to spend on the ads.
Totally.
You know, or whatever you want to do if you want to get out to different communities that way.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm paying Sarah to boost it for me.
I'm just
for the boost, basically.
Yes, you could. You could, yes. But just wanting to toss that out as an idea, because I remember when I first heard that, I thought, oh, what? Like that never occurred to me that people do that, and they do all the time. Will pay for ads to be run through someone else's account because they have a different audience they're reaching.
That's actually a really great idea. I love that too. Because it's funny. I mean, it would occur to me to say an interview with me and Sarah to have her boost it and me pay for it because it's my event. It wouldn't occur to me to have her boost, say, just my general ad for my event and pay that, or, you know, something, have her boost something else. So yeah, okay.
And if you have a cool idea besides an interview, Megan, feel free to tell us what should we say this thing is, because we're going to promote it ahead of time.
Yeah, an interview is great. And you're getting to also within the interview. So if Kia's interviewing you, Sarah, and you're talking about your work, you're also linking back to why Kia is so amazing and why her event's going to be awesome. And are you going to be there too?
Yeah, that's the idea, that Kia has 3 of us coming. Let's all of us talk about, you know, what we're going to do and why you should come and how excited we are, and maybe our people will see it and want to come too.
Exactly. And so then you can say that too in the interview, like, hey, I want to see, this is a great opportunity to meet some of you in person, some of my community who've been wanting to focus on their health in the new year. So you start to boost it that way.
Cool.
Yeah, I've brought a lot of people.
Interview sounds kind of boring to me. So
no, but speaking of the bring a friend game, I mean, for those of you, ELA and leverage, and you're starting to look at how do I bring my friends to the event, like this is a similar kind of thing, the bring a friends. You're bringing your friends and clients with you. It is a draw. Like I would say that I remember the year I was going to be speaking on the panel at Women Rocking Business Live when I was a client. And then I invited a bunch of friends and former clients to come to the event as well. And with that in mind, like come learn from me at this amazing event. And you'll also get all of this. Like they want to come and see you too, because you're the one they have the relationship with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thanks,
Great
Megan.
questions. You're welcome. Thanks, Kia. Mwah. And Sarah. You're doing it. Event time. Kiralani, how about you? Are you ready with your question? Oh, wait, where did you go?
I'm muted.
Oh, there we go.
I was trying to get all the buttons at once. Oh my gosh. I am definitely resonating with what you shared at the beginning, Megan, about how we have to up-level our practice. And I'm also feeling like I'm going through massive rebirth and shedding my next layer. And it's been so challenging for me to stay on top of like, what's the next action? I just got to printing out the handouts from yesterday's class, and the one on top is this one big thing, productivity planner. And I feel like I'm, as the Chinese would say, in the 10,000 things. And I'm like, what is the one big thing? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to do them all. And I'm not in the right space right now to really like tune into that. Like, how do I nut it down a little bit more from, I need this many talks, I need to keep my Facebook Lives going, and all the back work, and I'm not ready to hire an assistant, so it's like all the things. Yeah, I think that's my question, because I have so many other things outside of my business coming up in my life right now as well.
Yeah, who else feels like that's the reality you're in? Yeah. Oh, just breathing into that. Oh, there's a whole world outside your business plan. Damn it. Sometimes it can feel, I know I've definitely felt that, like it can feel like, what? This is not part of the plan. I do not have time for this right now. Or something feels like it's just derailing us. And what I've grown to see is that when I approach with that, I feel overwhelmed. So I totally go into that. Mm-hmm. And instead, I've started to practice looking at, okay, this was not part of the plan. What does it have to offer my business? What does this experience and this event have to offer that I wasn't seeing, that I wasn't open to? Getting curious, bringing that softness and curiosity in as a first step to discovering what the next step might be.
Mm-hmm.
So letting that curiosity, letting that softening and wonder come in, and then from that place asking, what's the one action that I could do that I feel ready for, that I feel aligned with, that feels right for me? Not because a worksheet says it or because I had it written down as the goal for the month. So when you feel into that place and that wise, centered, grounded one in you who knows, what does she have to say?
Well, what rose in me from that question is, or is another question, because what rose in me was, for instance, I could not face the video, so I did a long written post today, and that felt really good, and I got a lot of response from it. But I feel like I'm not doing the right call to action with my Facebook posts. When I do, I'm getting like a lot of feedback, but I'm not getting that translating into people getting on calls or sometimes joining my group. I get from that. Mm-hmm. And I would like to be more consistent with what is the result from these beautiful posts that I write that make an impact for people, to bring that back into my being, to translate into my clients, you know? Mm-hmm. And there, I guess there is some trusting that, like Sage was saying yesterday, the hours we're putting in are coming back over time. And I think that's a thing for me right now, especially with the new year. The impatience is pulling me off track. Mm-hmm. So I have a signature talk on Saturday. I scheduled 2 weeks to promote it, and then I did not really start promoting it until Sunday. And so there's something about, like what you're saying, bringing it into alignment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we put off those kind of things, like promoting a talk that needs to be shared, like there's a lot of different blocks and a lot of things that can come in between, like just getting in action. So there is a blend between the listening and like attuning to the wisdom of your body and your being, your soul, and the taking the next action just as a simple action step. And so that would be one thing for you I would add in, is having that one action that you just put on your calendar every day as, okay, you've got a talk coming up, similar to what I was saying to Kia. You've got a talk coming up. Today I'm going to post in 5 different groups. Today I'm going to do, whether it's a video or a longer written post, or today I'm going to reach out to 3 people I personally want to invite to be there that I think this talk would benefit. Like simple, small actions that may still feel edgy. They might not feel so small, but.
So this is actually a really good point, because like I made 2 posts today, and I don't think I mentioned my talk in either one. And so is that like, and I think I have this disconnect still with, like, the internet world is all out there, and I'm trying to get more into my community. This is only my 3rd live signature talk since I've been in the program. And so when I go on Facebook, I'm thinking, oh, this is only for the digital world. And then my email list has local people. So the email, but then even that, so I think I'm having a disconnect between the digital world translates into the physical world.
Yes. And I'm smiling because I was having a conversation with Serena the other day, and we were talking about this posting online when we feel like people aren't responding, and the frustration of like putting all the effort into the things to get it out there and then nothing. And so what we came up with is telling ourselves before we take an action, No one's watching anyway, so just do it. No one's watching, so I'm just going to put it out anyway. And just for myself, I'm just going to tell you, because this matters to me, because this topic, this talk, I'm just going to say, and it doesn't matter because maybe no one's going to comment and that's going to be fine. Like, what if no one was watching? What would I just say anyway? With the intention of like sharing the importance of what you're really here to do. And you can't control how many people like it or comment or the actions they take, but what you can control is that you show up every day.
Yeah, and you're making me recognize that I have this fear of people judging me from my Facebook posts or asking them to come to my event. I didn't realize that until you were talking. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's kind of silly, right? Because
Not so silly. How many of you can relate? Yes.
Yeah, I want them to think that I just want to give to them.
Of course.
And I do want to give to them, but I really need the support. And learning to ask for that support from my community, I think, is where my edge is.
Yeah. So I would say, I've got to move forward to keep answering questions, but I know this is so valuable for everyone. So just to complete at this place, or leave it here for now, is really for all of you, and especially you, getting to ask yourself, okay, so if I really care about people having this experience, getting this transformation, and I want to give so generously and I want to be in service, am I going to be more in service if they get to come and experience it, or if it doesn't happen because no one knew it was happening and I get to show up but there's an empty room? Which version allows you to be more in service, more giving?
Yeah, having some people show up definitely allows me to be more serving.
Yes.
And to have a greater opportunity to be supported.
And so like, just let yourself look through that lens of, oh yeah, I get to show up and give what I'm here to give. They can take it or leave it if they're interested. Like, I've seen things many times where I thought, oh damn, if I had known that event was happening, I totally would have gone. Why would they wait so long to let me know? Like, I'm planning out 6 months in advance. Sometimes I've got things a year in advance. Like, if someone really wants me to be at something, they would let me know, like as far out as they possibly know. And then I can at least entertain the idea. And so not everyone's like that. Most people are more like the wait till the last minute. But it's like, why not put out for all of you, when you're having events, 3-day events, especially day longs, when you're doing a meetup or a talk, you're giving people notice. You're saying, hey, this is coming up, even if it's just in the idea phase. And this is something I challenge you all to do. You know that you're going to do a talk and it's going to be a month from now, 2 months from now, but you have the idea and you're like, hey, you can do a post about this on Facebook and say, I was talking to a client today and I had this amazing idea to do a workshop about X, fill in the blank. And how many of you would be interested in coming? You know, that's a great way to also get engagement. How many of you would be interested in this topic? Even just leaving it that way. How many of you are interested in this topic? Those kind of posts can get a lot of buzz. Then you have a list of people who are potentially interested, and you can work from that too. And if you're not getting a lot of action from that, how could I reword it? How could I offer something in a slightly different way so that I do get some likes and some interest on the post?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to challenge myself to actually reach out to people that I know in my community. That's like a really big edge for me.
Awesome. Reaching out and inviting them to come for them, not to support you.
No, but exactly.
It'll support you too.
No, they don't have to come, and they can judge me if they don't like my topic. That's okay.
Yeah. And they might be so grateful. So I would also head into the conversation imagining this person. Every time I cold call someone for inviting them to Women Rocking Business, who's from our list of like meetup list, we have phone numbers of pages of people, and the coaches will call them And every time I get that feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, oh no, God, they're going to hate me like for calling. And then I'm like, no, I'm calling them personally, inviting them to this amazing opportunity. They're about to have their lives change if they're willing to say yes. And then I get on the phone with that energy and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, you're calling me personally. And there's so much more excitement. And when I come from that place of like, oh, so sorry to disturb you, even if I'm not saying it that way, it doesn't go well. So,
and to think of like people, I want to be in a room full of strangers. So I'm challenging myself to honor that the people that I know also would like to receive some of my gifts.
yes. Yeah. Beautiful. And they can invite others to join too.
Yes. Yes.
Giving you a kiss. Mwah. You and your brave heart, getting out there, taking action. Beautiful. What about, let's see, going back to my list over here. What about Marlene?
Hi there.
Hi.
You caught me looking at my questions just to see if I was on track.
Okay.
I have, it's like on some account, I feel like I have a gazillion. On another account, it's like, okay, how do you filter out which questions are the most important? So I'm just going with the ones that showed up in my head in the moment. So I have two situations that I'm kind of struggling with. One is I just recently started being able to use an office space and share it with two other ladies. But in that office space, there's like 12 spots where other professional women rent space and do either therapy or massage or any of that stuff. It's a wellness center. And the lady that runs it has recently kind of encouraged me to be the one that pulls everyone together, because I was asking questions of why aren't we doing monthly meetings together. I haven't even met half the people that work there, to kind of gel it. So my thought came up is, could this be, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be an Avon person where you just hit all your friends and closest people to get business. I don't want to come across like that. But at the same time, all these women, and they're all entrepreneurial women, and I'm wondering if I could do something that might encourage them to either, I don't know if I'd say be interested in doing my program. I don't know if I should be that brash about it, or to just have some kind of event right there that they can come to and kind of learn about my services and see if there's anything I could do that might be helpful for them, or maybe helpful for them in their business. I've not even, said anything about that with them. And
so what I would recommend, Marlene, is that you host a talk there, because it sounds like you've got a great space to potentially have a talk in general, and you invite others to come to the talk as well, not just them, because it's just the best use of your time. But then you give them personal invitations. You can go around and say, hey, this is happening. I thought of you. I'd love to have you there. Is this something you'd be interested in? Like, have a brief conversation with each of them and invite them in personally.
Okay, and the other issue I'm having is the few people I do have in my program. There's two of them that the one has been very consistent, and the other one, it feels like she's fallen off the map. And I don't know why that is. Like, we'll have a scheduled appointment, and same time, same day, and then something will come up for them. And one of them does it on her lunch hour at work, so sometimes work actually interferes. So, but I mean, I've been offering to make up those sessions with them if they wanted to, but it's just a 90-day program. So, the one girl, she's missed so darn many of them. I feel like she'd be getting a whole nother month out of me for free.
Yeah.
So I'm like, something's not right about this. She was my first client, so I didn't have a lot of probably good structure in there yet. I'm learning, got a few bruises from it, but
yeah, that's totally normal. that's how we get boundaries usually, is from feeling like, hey, no, that didn't feel good. And so, yeah, I would say that within that time, if you've already made that offer to them to make it up, that it's within that time frame. You're
like
willing
the 1 week after they missed the one session, like, say, is there another day this week that you can make it up, or in that month?
I would say, well, you have to set the parameter for what you're willing to do. It's like another day that week. It depends on your schedule, what's possible. In the future, I wouldn't offer it.
Yeah. So just say if you miss your appointment, you've missed your appointment.
Yeah.
But if this is a person that, one of my first few clients that might hopefully give me a positive testimony towards my program, and they only were there for, 3/4 of it or whatever, how are they going to, I
Well,
don't know.
that's not in your control.
Yeah.
So they have to want it enough to show up and do the work themselves. And so for all of you to hear this too, what you breed with your clients by creating so much flexibility is that they just depend on you, and they're not in action themselves and willing to like step forward into their full power and accountability. And so I've found when I'm really clear about boundaries and time and the importance of showing up for calls and why, then people show up and no one ever complains. Like in programs I've led, if they couldn't make a call I've never had one complaint from someone like, oh no, I didn't get the value. They really get it, that it's on them.
Well, okay, I'll have to revamp that, I guess, a little bit then.
So for the next round, but for now, create some clear parameter of like, you've got to make it up this week if you're going to miss it. Yeah.
So change what I tell them about that in the very beginning of this is how it is.
For these ones, yeah. Make it clear and really talk to them about the value of showing up at the time, of carving that time out for themselves. And that's something for all of you when you're doing like group call setups in the initial call, talking about the importance of, hey, right now, calendar these things out. Like put them on your calendar, get really clear about making this space for yourself, your priority. Yes, I understand things can come up occasionally, but when we get distracted by something and, whether it's a work demand or a sick child or, there's always going to be something. And when are you going to create that boundary for yourself to say, this is my appointment, this is my time, and I'm going to do my best to be there.
Okay.
Okay. In your own way.
Okay.
Yeah, saying it your own way. Okay. Thanks, Marlene.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. How about Kathy? Kathy Smith.
Hi.
Hi.
My 2 questions. What do I do when a potential client who I've had my grow conversation with her, she says no, and then asks for my best favorite book suggestions?
So I would ask, so she says no in a grow conversation, and did she give you a reason? You got into that whole portion?
Money, time.
Money, time. So I would ask her, well, what is it that you're really wanting to get out of reading that book? What's the transformation you're really wanting to get? And it gets you back into some of that grow conversation. Then you're back in that loop and say, I'll just be real with you. I've never had that kind of transformation. I've never seen a client have that kind of transformation from reading a book alone.
Yeah.
When you're able to have accountability, having one-on-one support or group mentorship support, at least, that is what makes the difference for people making change. And then I would ask her, well, just even for you, like saying to the client, not for you, Kathy, but even for you, have you gotten a book and, intended to go through it? You've gotten a workbook and it's still gathering dust on the shelf, or it's sitting on your bedside table and you didn't actually make it through. And if she says, yeah, because I think pretty much all of us, I'm probably not the only one who's done that. Then most of us have had that experience, that then you can relate back to, okay, so what's going to be different this time? And if it's just about the money in working together, I'd love to see what we could figure out. So then it brings it back into the conversation. If it's only a money conversation, what flexibility do you have? Like giving her less sessions or a shorter amount of time that you would start working together. I've done that with clients before where it's like, hey, okay, they're not ready to commit for a year, but they're willing to do 3 months or 6 months and get started. And then in most cases, they keep going because they feel the value. So it can be just getting people started.
And one other question. So I have somebody who said that they wanted to sign up for my program and didn't want to do the discovery session questions with me, just wanted me to email them to him. Is that okay?
So wanted you to do, so they want to sign up for the program.
Yeah. But I want to get like background and what their issues are and where their goals are. And
yeah, I mean, have you talked to the person already?
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case, I would say if it's someone that's just like really busy, they're clear, they want to do it and they just want to get the email done, then fine. If you've already talked to them and you know that like they're a fit and that you feel good about working with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
That sounds like an easy sale. That's good news.
Nice.
Yeah, as long as you check it out, because that's always the kind of thing where you want to make sure you want to work with the person too.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. Let's give you a kiss. Mwah. And Ada, how about you? Hello. Oh, I'll unmute you. Try to.
So, like Ashley, like Kia, all these things happen to me. The last conversation I had with you, Megan, was where I said these people, 3 of them re-enrolled, and
Yes.
then just about a week ago, my star participant emailed me saying it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
It costs too much.
Too much money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $50 per session, $300. It's just, anyway, so when these kind of things happen to me, I just go down into a hole, and I judge them, I judge myself, and I just shrink and freeze and get all kinds of really, my ego gets offended and all that good stuff, right? I mean, unlike Kia, this is the first time around, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
that's your
besides,
first offer for, yeah.
and so now I have 1 solid person left, 1.5. And I'm so afraid to talk to anybody because I just feel like hiding and all that. And I processed it with a bunch of my wonderful buddies. So now I can do a little bit, I'm coming alive again. Yeah. And my first thought was, shall I just forget these people who think they cannot afford $50 and start a totally new group, or do one-on-one with that one person that's left and then start a new group? Because suddenly I started skiing, and then in Lugano English Facebook, somebody asked a question like, who wants to go skiing? Like 6 women showed up on that list who said they want to go skiing. And I said, well, there's all these people who have money, who have time, who have all of those things. Why don't we just do something different? Because it seemed like I'm doing some, I just got really pissed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I know that feeling. And I would say like that anger really comes from the desire to be getting to support people, to change lives, to have transformation. And you know that it's really valuable. And it's I'm sure many of you can relate. It pisses you off to see someone saying, hey, let's go out for happy hour, or let's go out and do this, whatever, some class or some like trip, or You know, I've had people say like, oh, I'm saving to buy a new car, so that won't work right now. It's like, are you kidding? A new car is not going to get you what you want. Like, you're not going to feel more the way you want to feel. It's bullshit. And so, but that's not what we say. But I understand what you're speaking about. And so for you, I would say, Ada, like, let yourself feel all of that that comes up, because that's the fire that gets you to the next place of clarity of what do you stand for? What do you want to keep offering? Getting back out there, getting up again after you fall down, that cycle. And you could definitely, there's a couple ideas I have for you. One is doing one-on-one, like you said, with the person. That's a total yes. Shifting them to some one-on-one work. And then starting a new group, launching that, focusing on marketing that new group, or letting them wait a couple weeks, like pushing it out and inviting more people into that group, getting them started. So the people, maybe some of the people you're meeting with skiing, for instance, like getting to ask who would be interested in joining. Say this is getting started in a couple of weeks, and do you want to join us? And just keep inviting from that place of, I remember one of the best things that Sage ever told me is I was feeling so reluctant initially. When I very first started, I felt very reluctant to invite people to things I didn't want to share. And she said, think about it like you're having the best party, like, of the decade. This is the best party. And you're just going to ask people, hey, you want to come to my party? And if they say no, you're like, cool, you're a loss. Do you want to come to my party? Oh, no? Okay. How about you? Do you want to come to my party? And it's with that kind of enthusiasm every time. And you can see that Sage has that kind of enthusiasm of like, hey, come to my party. And it's contagious. And it comes from being connected to that deep desire of how can you really be doing what you're called to do and helping people with that. And so I just keep asking them to come to your party, Ada. And
can I ask you 2 questions relating to that? Is so it's really my self-esteem and all that went into pieces. So I thought that in order to do a short-term strategy, is I said to myself, if I do 10 PCIs or 5, 7 PCIs among ELA sisters, and then every 2 of my ELA PCI, I do 1 outside call. So that gives me a little bit more like, it gives me like
building the confidence up. That's great.
And when I talk to people who don't know me from Adam, but I know that it's like you were saying, they can use my service, but they don't know it, right? So how do I do it in a way that is engaging? I mean, really, I can see, I'm okay with having a potential client interview with a stranger, but how can I make it so that it has some substance?
Well, Ada, how about, so it sounds like you're part of some expat groups on Facebook and things like that. Yeah. And so are you able to post in there that you're doing a free gathering or a talk?
Well, somebody just posted yesterday that they have a location and they invite people to do events. So I thought I contact those people and I'll do that.
Great. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend you put more time on, is like inviting people to come out, or just starting something, just like the person posted about skiing. Who wants to come have a dinner? I'm going to make a reservation at this place and let's all have a group dinner together. It doesn't have to be in the traditional form of a talk. Like in your case with these kind of things, it's like, let's gather, let's get to know each other. And that's a starting place. And then within that, you can talk about, oh yeah, we have this group starting. Maybe you'd be interested.
And how did you grow your leadership qualities? Because when
well, like over many, many years, and they're still growing, and I still get my little ego hurt, and I still all those things. So when you say like, oh, you feel like it was a blow to your confidence, right? To have that happen. I think all of us can feel that when it happens, that is the experience. That doesn't go away. But what I remind myself of when that happens now is, oh, I've been attaching my worth and my confidence to number of clients. That's not really going to get me where I want to go. Like that's not, we can't, when we do that, when we mesh those two things together, our worth and how many people show up or how many clients we have, it's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, wonderful.
And so that would be the first thing. It's like easier said than solved, but it's the thing of just recognizing for any of you, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm linking those two things up, like I'm not good enough because there's only this many people coming, or I'm embarrassed because this happened. Well, how is that actually related to you and your worthiness? Because they don't even know how incredible you are. They don't even know the amazingness that you have to offer because they're not even showing up. So you don't even have a chance. Like get 100 people in the room, and then if they all hate you, then you can start to see like, what do I need to do about my leadership skills? Like everyone hated that workshop. Like that's more something to look at. They're not signing up and you're only getting a few people there. Like that's not a reflection of your leadership. It's not a reflection of the value of what you have to teach. This is just a lead generation problem.
And those participants, I still want to engage with them without feeling like I'm judging them or they're judging me. Because there is value delivered. I mean, they gave some wonderful testimonials, how their lives have been changed and all that. So how do I build on it instead of, how do I build on it? So and continue that conversation, that maybe redo another round of PCI or.
Yeah, well, I've got to move forward, Ada, but I would say for connecting with them and continuing to just invite them to free talks and workshops and things that you have, keep them on your list, and just don't spend too much energy on them. Okay. That's not where to put your energy. Put your energy on the people who are a yes and who are excited about doing things with you.
They said they want to go for tea with me.
Yeah. Well, you get to decide if you want them. If you really want someone as a friend, that's different. Or if they're more in the like client category of that's where you want to stay, then you can set that boundary too.
Great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ada. Mwah. Sending kisses to your tender one and all of your tender ones. Kisses to all of us just getting out there and doing this thing. All right. How about Rose? Rose Amaru.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hey, so yeah, my question is about the signature talk, and I was like, dang, I don't have like anything really prepared, but then I realized I've been doing workshops for a long time. I do lots of workshops and dance workshops and breath workshops, and so I'm wondering if you can give any tips of how to do like the ask, like come do a discovery call with me, or sign up for my mailing list. How do I kind of convert that into the workshop setting?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you have, that's an awesome advantage of already being comfortable with teaching the workshop and getting in front of people. So I would just say, keep that kind of format. You don't need to change that into signature talk format. It's just like you're teaching your workshop, and yeah, that's awesome. And are people, I just want to be clear about a couple of things because it'll change my answer. Are they paying for the workshops?
Yeah, last time I did a workshop, I had 25 people come to sold out workshop, and I increased my prices. I used to be 11 to 15 sliding scale. Then I did 15 to 55, and over half the people paid the full amount, 55, for the workshop. And then one person even did a sponsor for 111 for a 3-hour workshop. So I was pretty stoked. So that happened, and then I did a 4-day retreat in December which did not get quite as many people. And so that would be my second thing, is that I've been collaborating with another woman to do 2 retreats a year. And so there's been, I think that one came from a little resistance of her and I failing to talk, and me not putting my full marketing support with that, because I wasn't super on board with exactly everything that was going to be taught. Am I putting my name on this when it's not like fully my message? And so like, you know, we've talked a little bit about, you know, how do we continue doing the retreats from now on? And so like we'll be splitting the money more evenly based on the energy. I was gonna touch base with my coach about that before we have we're scheduled for a call about that later in the month to see how we'll reformat that. But any advice on formatting joint venture retreats, and then also for the ask in the workshop?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, just in regards to the joint venture thing, so important to look for any of those places where you might feel like you're overriding, and like those glitches where you feel like, oh, I'm not really behind that all the way, or, well, I guess that'll be okay. That's her thing or their thing. And I'm, whatever it is, just looking for those places, because I feel like energetically that definitely can cause more problems down the line. So you felt that ripple. And for the ask in the workshop, so 2 things to note when you're teaching a workshop and someone's paid to be there is you're giving a lot more value than you would in the signature talk model. So because they're paying and it's like full workshop mode, but you're also wanting to position what could be next for them. And so the important thing is for you to be seeding what's next. And so when they're there for an experience, you're also talking about, in my X thing, like in my program, in this workshop, if it's the next level of the workshop, we get to dive into this a lot more. Today, we're going to get to do the first step, but there's a couple more steps that we take you through when you're in this other workshop that happens next month, for instance. So you're starting to plant the seeds. That's the main key thing. And then the call to action, being really clear towards the end of the workshop what that next step is. So is it to sign up for a discovery session with you, and you've got a name for that? And in that case, you would talk about how valuable it is to get some one-on-one time to support them further, and you want to give them that gift of the one-on-one time. And then passing around a sign-up sheet for those sessions with you, and talking about your limited spots that you have and how those specifically relate to what you've worked on in the workshop, why that's a next step. I feel like when I've taught those kind of workshops, that's the easiest sign-ups that I ever get to a grow conversation, because they're like, oh yeah, I do want to dive into this. And I also talk about it as like an integration. It's important to have some integration from what you've experienced here and have a follow-up afterwards.
Yeah, I got 3 people to pay for the retreat, which is like from that workshop. I got 3 paid retreat participants, which is like $1,200 retreat. So
yeah, great, good news.
Good. Yeah.
Yes, so definitely inviting them into sessions for those kind of things, rather than offering direct to the retreat or doing the bigger asks there, offering the one-on-one, and then getting to find out more of like, what is it they're really wanting? Do they want private work? Do they want more workshops? Do they want a bigger experience like a retreat? And then you can have different tiers that you're ready to present to them. Sounds like it's going really well for you. Congratulations on raising your rates and getting more people to sign up for the retreat from your workshop.
Yeah, it was the first time, and we've been working together for several years. So it was the first time that most of the people that went to the retreat were people that I initially pulled in. Although she did help me close a number of them, but so that felt good for me to like actually be able to do some of the marketing, which in the past, which is I think why it was a little bit different this time, because in the past I was more like the lead facilitation support and only showing up to the retreat and doing workshops, and then now, or like a couple workshops, and now it's like I'm wanting to be more of either doing something that's my own thing or having a lot more input in the retreat. So So yeah, it's a kind of like a weird thing. It's like, do I break off and do my own retreats now, or do I do like, let's do this 50-50, and it's like 50% of the work going in, or something like that. So
yeah. So the last thing I would say about collaboration is, making sure you're breaking up the work in a way that feels like it's even. And then sometimes I've seen people do, if depending on who brings the lead in, there's a different payment structure as well. So it's something to consider. Like if you're all of a sudden reaching more people, you're marketing to more people, and there's a different percentage. Like maybe you get 70% and she's 30% of those, but then it flips as well if she brings in the lead. So it doesn't need to be an even 50-50 split if you're bringing in the client. Yeah, great. Good questions. Thanks, Rose. Let's give you a kiss. Mwah. And let's see, how about you, Juliet? Your gorgeous backdrop. Roses.
Oh, thank you. Actually, it's a mattress in our spare room and it's folded over, and I decided it was more pleasant to see a curtain.
I love it. I love it. Getting creative with your backdrops.
Yeah, exactly. So getting into action, I'm planning my niche is relationships, couples and relationships, but my modality is the Enneagram, and it's about understanding the dynamics, the invisible dynamics between people because of their psychology, personality. So I'm looking at Valentine's Day, and I'm doing 3 or 4 little 2-hour talks around that date. That's what I'm planning, and kind of early but speedy stages. And then I was thinking ahead, wow, so if I get 1 or 2, people for a discovery session, so I get a little collection, let's say I get 5 or 6 to 8 discovery, I'm being very positive here, out of let's say 4 2-hour sessions, 4 talks, and I get 6 to 8 discovery sessions. Is that, I'm not knowing how many people would be there, but I'm being on.
So as far as like percentage, for all of you who are thinking about this, when you're thinking about trying to fill a program and how many people you would need to come to a talk and then to get into discovery sessions. So typically it's about 25 to 30% of the people who attend a talk want to book a discovery session with you. So that's sort of how to get that. So if you had 10 people in the room, you might have 3 people that say yes. And of course, there's times where you would have more than that. But just for planning purposes, saying, okay, if there's 3 people, and then, it could be like out of the discovery sessions you have, it's usually like a third. If you're really good at enrollment, a third would be saying yes. So for every 3 discovery sessions, it's 1 person saying yes.
Okay. So then that was my little, I got ahead of myself. So then, in theory, the people of this, that's the 1/3 who say yes, whether that's 3 people or 6 people or whatever, I suddenly had that panic of, but what am I offering? And I have done a marketable program. Oh yeah, quickly make that happen, quick. What's that about? But it's because my previous client last year, she came off the back of another talk, but she wasn't really in my niche because the talk wasn't in that niche, but it was still, it was much more about the Enneagram. It was about turning your virtue into your vice into virtue. So it was a different focus. And she came to me for that shift, that focus. Whereas now I'm really focusing on my niche area. So suddenly I thought, so I've got to sort of go through my marketing program again. So while I've done it gently with someone, I've sort of had a loose feeling of what does 3 months feel like. In one sense, I need to create it again. But then am I offering, now is that a group program and I get these 6 people to start together, like a meetup group, like this, we started together, or is it just 6 individual clients and I'm doing the same program, but with them at different stages?
Yeah, so the easiest for all of you, especially in ELA, who are feeling like I don't know if I'm ready for a group, or what is that group going to look like? What's the program going to look like? Then a great place to start is just getting a handful of clients first that you're working with one-on-one. You're taking them through a system, a step-by-step process, and you get to go through that experience with them. And then eventually you feel, after you've done that with a few people, like a handful of people, maybe 6 to 10 people, you feel like, oh yeah, I see the patterns. I see what works or what doesn't about these sessions. I've refined it and I can turn that into a group. So that would be also an easier way to enroll, because you don't need to get everybody in at the same time. You can be enrolling people from different talks, different times, and it's less pressure.
Okay, that's really helpful. And although I'm feeling a bit ahead of myself, it's actually really helpful, because you're looking at the end. You're looking at the
reverse engineering.
Yeah, and you've got to have your, it's a great phrase, have your microscope to look at the detail and your telescope to look at the long picture. Make sure you're in the right direction, you know.
Yes.
You know, you're aiming for land, not another bit of ocean. So that's helpful. That's good focus. And now it's just making that happen. But
right.
Yeah, I think that was just wanting to get in there and get in the vision. Thanks.
All right. You're welcome, Juliet. Let's give you a kiss. Getting in action, getting prepared for Valentine's coming up. Any of you that do work around couples or self-love and all of those areas, it's a good thing to be thinking about.
Is it, just quickly, is it too soon? I mean, it's cutting it a bit fine, but it's not like a whole weekend workshop, because they're only little evenings.
Yeah.
I've got like a month and a bit. So it's still enough time to just basically get a flyer out, get the message out.
Get out. Now's the right time.
Okay, a month. I've got a month, but I'm not too under.
No, okay. This is great. Perfect timing to start getting the word out there, and keep doing it all the way along.
Okay.
Keep getting the word out all the way along. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Juliet. All right. Let's see. How about, I was waiting. Nancy, you've had your hand up a long time.
I put my hand up because I wanted to reach out to Kira about your online phobia. I did a 12 days for love to come to you over Christmas, 12 Facebook Lives in a row, like 20 minutes. And like the beginning, it's like, oh, who's going to be on? Who's going to be on? And so you get all, and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I think it's almost like we're judging ourselves more than we're worried about other people judging us. Am I talking, making sense? Blah, blah, blah. By the end of 12 days, I didn't care anymore. And I realized I gave this could be my year-long program. So I wanted to jump in. I hadn't really done a lot of Facebook Lives. I think I did one. But if I would encourage anybody yet that hasn't, if there's still time, to lead one of those morning calls, that re-energized me. That got me back on the program. So it's almost like a little way of getting your feet wet again.
Love it. Love hearing that. And great advice, Nancy, to just get out there and do it. Often I find that too, when I make a commitment to something, to show up for a certain number of days, just doing it anyway, even if it's just posting every day for a week. And it could be that for you to start, Kira, of just getting something out there every day. Then it takes the excuses part out. As long as you stay with your commitment to yourself. Then there's that layer. But
no, you gotta look good every day. Oh my gosh, this is like.
No, that's what yes, I can speak to that. Thank you, Nancy. Let's give you a kiss. One of my friends, I'll just speak to, one of my friends did a summit, and she did 66 days in a row of Facebook Lives to promote for the summit. And I thought, oh dear, that is not, who wants to do that? 66 days in a row. And I saw progressively, just not watching them all, but just seeing the clips or seeing what would happen. you could tell that she cared less and less about where she was, what she was wearing, what her hair was like whatever. It just totally took a turn to just like her showing up in her pajamas. Like by the end, it was just, this is me, here we are sitting on the couch. Yeah, hoodie, exactly. And she was getting tons more engagement also towards the end, because people were just like, oh yeah, there she is, like real and sitting there. So just for all of you who are thinking, oh, I'm not like good enough at that yet, or I'm not ready, any of those excuses, you don't have to start with 66 days, maybe 3 days. That's a good starting point. But just thinking of that. All right, I am gonna jump over to Ellen. What do you got, Ellen?
Hi.
I hear you. Yeah.
My question is about re-enrollment, and I was going frantic over the holidays because I had a 3-day event planned for January 24th, 25th, and 26th. And I resented all my social stuff. Ended up having a big fight with one of my husband's best friends. And he came over and stayed and stayed and stayed. And we've made up, and I've sent him anyway, about something that happened 18 years ago, which is just crazy. But we resolved it, which was good. But so I decided to move my 3-day event up to April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is just such a relief. And I've been frantically planning and scheduling. I love doing that. But it's the technical online stuff that I was just overwhelmed with. I have a free gift now, but I don't know how to put it up. I have, these things I have to learn, and my husband had this window to help me. So I just wanted everybody to go away and focus on my business. So, and now he's busy again, but I think I can fit him in now. There's enough time that he can try and figure it out for me. But so I have 3 weeks left of my 6-month group. And they've said it's the most profound experience they've ever had, et cetera, et cetera. Why don't you join my year-long program? Oh, I don't want to give up my Sundays. I have my grandkids. So, and I can feel that they need more. 6 months was not enough. They're in a way better place, but they're not there yet. So I know it would be good for them, but I kind of fizzled out. I was just like, oh, okay, I hear you. It's a big money commitment. It's a big time commitment. I understand. But I'm hoping between now and the event, I have a counseling session with each of them on Sunday and a class with them, and then a coaching thing with them. So I'm hoping I can massage their hearts and not fizzle out again.
Yes. So you being resourced is the number one thing. And you've got more space now, not thinking about your event. So you being resourced for showing up for those calls, the full belief in where you see them going with another 6 months with you. Is that what you'd be enrolling them into, another 6 months? Or
a year. Year-long program.
A year. So enrolling them into a year. And where specifically, I would write down notes for each person of what you see them creating and where you see them headed. If they were to stay, what their gaps still are. And then you can be able to speak about that when you're on your one-on-one calls. Because with re-enrollment, that's really where it happens. It's the one-on-one calls.
And that's, is it important to try and re-enroll these ones? There's only 3 of them, or focus on getting unknown. I love them, and I would love to carry on.
Yeah, so, definitely you're going to be focusing on bringing more people in, but why not look to the ones you already have, and you already have that relationship established. They just need to feel you standing for them to not fizzle out. Yeah. They want to feel like, why should they be there? And, if they're all have the same objection about the day of the week or something like that, how could you make a shift so that it could work for where they're coming from, especially for a small group like that? But really getting to meet them in their objections, not as excuses or reasons why they can't do it, but just like, okay, I hear that. And what are you still wanting, and how can I support you? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know we've got re-enrollment resources and Leverage Library too. And ELA. Yeah.
Is it ELA? I couldn't find it in leverage, but maybe, yeah.
No, I know that we have some in both libraries. So you could just search re-enrollment at the top for all of you who haven't done that yet. I think I've said this before, but you do a Command F on a Mac. I'm not sure about other computers, but on a Mac, you do Command F at the top of the library, and you can search like enrollment or enroll, and then it'll show everything that has that in the title.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Let's give you a kiss. Mwah. And I know, I see there's 4 more of you, so I can stay on for up to another 15 minutes and do laser focusing through. And Jennifer, you're next. So if you can stay on, feel free to stay with us. We'd love to have you. And if you can't, I understand.
Yeah, hi. Thanks,
Hi.
Megan.
Welcome.
So I just did another wedding expo on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I used my quiz as a way to have couples come on over to the table, and it worked fantastic. My free gift. So they came and took the quiz, and I've been getting some feedback from the industry, and I've had 2 different suggestions, one from Sage and one from Deborah, about my pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, Deborah had said, hey, you need money, you need weddings. Why not take some at the $550 mark, the $750 mark, and just get them on your book, you know? And then Sage was like, you need money, so ask $1,000 more. It's $2,500, not $1,500, right? So I'm like, do I do $550 or do I do $2,500? So, and then I've had a bunch of people say, you know, you really need 3 packages. You've got your $550 as your base plus a la carte, your $1,500 is your fully custom, and then $2,500 is like a 6-month deep dive.
Yeah.
They're asking, you know, it's always they ask for a price right away. And I know I want to get them on the phone, but so, you know, do you have something to say?
So you could say for asking for price, yeah. You could say for asking for price that there's a range. So you could talk about it that way. Like, we have a range of options, right? From this to this. And that when we're in conversation, we'll find out exactly what you need and what's the best fit for you.
Yeah.
So that's the way I would handle that piece. And, you know, both Sage and Deborah are totally right about you need money. Then they're both great answers. Like, dropping a price is a way to get certain people through the door, and you're not going to get as much money. So Sage's theory is work with less people for more. It's easier to find less people and have them invest in more than work with more people, have to find more leads, and then when you're offering a lower price. Unless you have a lot of leads coming in and it's just price objection, price objection, price objection, then you can say, okay, I can do some specials, get some people in to get started, and then move it up from there. But I would be definitely asking them, you know, what's so important for them. I can't think of anything that's more important about a wedding than, except maybe photography, but then the officiant and the experience of actually going through the ceremony.
Yeah.
So I would be really taking a stand for them in that, like, where is their budget going? If they feel like they don't have it, well, let's look at your wedding budget.
Yeah. And then the other place to go with that is I'm working on getting meetings with wedding planners to kind of educate and say, here's why what I'm doing is a different tier than your average one and done officiant. And this is, you know, this is what's different. So I have a couple meetings with wedding planners, and I'm wondering, as far as affiliate, like, I'd like to give them a little package of, okay, here's, you know, I want them to refer people to me, and I want them to know me well enough and to trust me so that they can tell clients, hey, this should be part of your budget. And if your budget is 30,000, budget 2,500 into it for an officiant. Because everywhere else, it's like, just get your uncle to do it. It's free, you know, just budget for the dove release and you're done, you know?
Yeah. So I think exactly what you're saying. It's so important for them to be educated, and that's where a grow conversation comes in. And you partnering with wedding planners is going to help that, help those efforts. So they become your affiliate partners. You're giving them a reason to recommend you. You're educating them. You're also giving them a percentage for recommending you.
And is 15%, Megan, is that like a standard?
10 to 15 if it's personal work like that.
Okay.
One-on-one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yes. You're welcome. Give you a kiss. Mwah. Thanks for your questions. How about you, Deanna?
Hello, how are you?
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you too. So I have 4 upcoming workshops or signature talks, which are all of a different focus, but all things that I love. And I'm really great at hosting a workshop. I'm really great at holding that space, but I rarely ever have anyone convert to a one-to-one discovery call after. So I'm just looking for some support on maybe it's the way I'm delivering what the call is, or maybe it's even just what it's called. You had said earlier today, you had said something about it. I can't remember what it is now, but I just love some support around that.
Okay. So what is your title?
Currently it's Empowerment Roadmap Call. So the idea is that it's to create a roadmap or a plan for you to get into personal empowerment.
Mm-hmm. And I know that's been working well for you to have empowerment-based workshops, and you've been getting good attendance in Canada for that. I'm just wanting to clarify that because it's one of the areas we say can be saturated.
Yeah, so I live in a small town, and I'm finding that I keep reaching out to the smaller areas, and women are like, "What? Yes!" So they want it, but it is very new for them.
Yeah, and so they're already coming for the empowerment workshop, and then the empowerment roadmap, it may be that it's just too similar to what they think they already got from being at the workshop because it's the same titling. So you could go with something like, let's see, like your vision clarity, like that's a simple session title. It works for a lot of people, but vision clarity plan, for instance, that can be something that you're just working with them one-on-one, and also talking about how important it is to have that one-on-one time with you that's different than what you could do in the workshop.
Yeah. So even outside of the name of it, I think this is maybe what you had said earlier, but the concept of, so deliver the workshop, and I'm one of, I'm sure many of us who loves to over deliver and give as much as possible. What would you say is the key for delivering so much, but then still having them need more, want more?
So Sage talks about this as being about 60 to 70% of content, and then 30 to 40% is more the seeding and offering and inviting into a next step. So when you're mapping out how much you're giving, you're saying, I'm going to give you more than half the time is going to be content. You're going to really feel that's valuable. And not necessarily just content, but experiential, all those things, but not the enrollment aspect. And so when you're seeding for workshops that are coming up, or you're seeding for a discovery call, you're letting people know the value of next steps with you. That's a big part of it, the seeding that happens. The other side, I would say, is when you're inviting people, just thinking, if you're inviting them into a program or a course, for instance, if knowing what the big picture is of what the next steps are, you're letting them know, today we're doing this first step, and in my course or in my one-on-one work, we get to do X, Y, and Z. And you're referencing the names of your programs, you're referencing the steps or the modules that you teach, and you're starting to plant those seeds with people.
Okay. Thank you. I think what I need to do is really just get really clear on what is the value of those next steps, because I know it delivers value, but to articulate what it is, get really clear on exactly what those pieces are, and then make notes in my thing saying you have to say this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, is Deborah your coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a good thing to also work on, like do an outline, then have a coaching session, get some support with that in detail, especially since you have so many workshops coming up. Because I know Deborah's really good at that too.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I scheduled a call with her right before 2 of my workshops and then another one before my next 2.
Great.
Yeah.
Good
And
job.
one other just exciting thing, I'm
Yeah.
hosting a second conference in March in a brand new community. So that's going to be happening at the end of March. So I have 4 workshops coming up and a conference.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great job getting out there, getting into
Thank you.
action.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Megan.
You're welcome. Let's give you a kiss. Mwah. And Phoebe, you've been so patient.
Got my work cat here.
I know, I love it.
I've gotten so much great information. Thank you so much. I have one really short question, and another one I think is probably going to be pretty quick. And I love the promoting every day. So I have 2 events scheduled 2 weeks apart. They're the same exact topic. Both are referring partners. They're helping to promote. I create a Facebook event that's also an Eventbrite, tickets, free tickets, and all that kind of stuff. Do I put up both events so people can see they have a choice of location and date? Or do I focus on one, get that one filled, and then post the next one when that one's over?
You can definitely, I mean, as far as putting it up on Meetup or Eventbrite or Facebook events, all the places, you can have them both out, but then focus on marketing one at a time. So you can have them there for people to see or find.
Okay.
But when you're marketing and you're posting about things, really focus on building up the first one and then the next one after that.
Okay, perfect. And then the other thing that I had a question about is I'm simultaneously doing a little 4-week group program. I have 9 people in it, a little $97 course for people to maximize the power of the summit that they're presenting in.
Great.
Yeah, it's really great. They get to put their 1-page website up, their opt-in, get their gift ready, and it's really hands-on and everything, and they're very excited about it. And I'm looking at that in terms of like re-enrolling them into my 6-month Channel Your Business course. So, by the way, thank you for refocusing me on my summit focus.
Awesome. I'm glad that's coming together.
Yeah, it's coming together really nicely. I have like over 35 presenters ready to signing up right now for March interviews. Yeah, it's very exciting. So is that something where I seed it throughout? There's only 4 sessions. Do I mention it?
Yeah, I would the first session, just let it be about the training that you're doing with them. And then the next session, you can definitely, seed it a little bit. By the 3rd session, you're making the offer for them. And then, so they're clear that that's happening. Then you open up discovery sessions for that week in between the 3rd and the 4th session. And then by the 4th session, you can remind them again and say like, hey, I know a few of you haven't booked yet with me. I want you to know I'm still available. Do some personal reach out to those people if they haven't, why you think they'd be a great fit for it.
Great. And do you recommend that I give them like a special discount, special rate, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, that's always a great incentive to get people started. And it could
give them the $97 they've already paid for this course.
Towards it.
Because I've already 4 sessions into kind of basically what I teach.
Yeah, into the course. And so they would just get that, say that's like their deposit towards it, and then get started with their next payment.
Oh, I love that. Okay. That's great clarity. Thank you so much.
Great. You're welcome, Phoebe. Thanks for your clear questions. Let's give you a kiss.
To get it straight.
Yeah. All right. Jessica, are you ready with your question?
Hi.
Hi.
Quick question, just related to the business. And I actually wonder, because credit cards to put into investing the tuition. So I just wonder if one of you know, or you have any suggestion that because I don't want to pay the 20 something interest rates kind of high. So, and I'm considering putting on get a personal loan so that I can pay it all off at a lower interest rate, or I should be thinking of doing a business loan. Then I never done that, but I just wonder how you guys do it. And then if I do a business loan, then I can write out my business plan, how I'm going to use the money to do retreat, website and a lot of extra tools and hiring people like that. And then a portion of it just pay off all the tuition, from the different, the investment into the course. So
yeah. Yeah, so there's a couple things. I mean, I would just look at what the options are and what the interest rates are. So if, there's so many different credit options, credit card options and loans, bank loans and business loans, personal loans even, and getting to do that. And when I did my first event, I took out a personal loan to front it so that then I would be able to do the 3-day event because I didn't have the money already saved to lead into it. And so you just look for, what's the best interest term and what's reasonable for you to add into your budget to be able to pay. And then also create an agreement with yourself, I would say as an add-in of, okay, this is what it would take. This is how many clients I need to get to be able to pay this off, in what time frame, and how are you holding yourself accountable for that plan. And really feeling good about it in that choice to fund your business rather than, we can easily look at credit card debt, like you were saying, that's high interest, it's 20%. And when you're carrying it for just a few months, it can feel worth it and good. So yeah, just wanting you to tap in to see what's reasonable for you. Okay, Jessica. Oh, are you still there?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, great. So so it's just about looking at I would make a spreadsheet of the different options and make that plan for what you could apply for.
Right. I'm looking into personal loan or business loan. I just don't know.
Loan or credit card.
Oh no, I'm already have. I've been using credit card to 0 interest rate.
Right.
And now time frame is done. Now back up to the original 20 something %. Right. And if the business hasn't been it's my fault in a way.
Well, no, but so that's something to look at. And then the other thing is also asking yourself, well, what do you need if it would just take, similar to what we were talking about with Jennifer, what would it take for how many clients would you need to get in at what amount to pay that off and move forward?
Right. I have this plan and put it out how many clients. So I have one more solid now, but and at the same time, so I have different credit cards, right? And then so about done. So I'm well, I don't want to pay 20%. So I know personal loan, I probably got down to 10% or under, but then I just don't know if you guys have any experience a personal loan or a business loan. I've never done a business loan before.
Yeah. It really depends on what the bank's willing to do. And so that's where I say just going in and talking to them directly and just seeing what the best choice is for you. So we've seen people have, success with both.
Right. So I also heard that do not do those whatever, something that they said will hurt your credit. Is that called the debt reduction?
Consolidation.
Yeah, so those kind of things was a trick or something, then they would destroy your credit time and use credit.
If you go in and talk to a financial advisor or talk to someone at a bank and see what are your options and lay that out, that's the best way to do it because that's not our genius. We've had some personal experience with it, but it's just seeing when you talk to the lenders as well and you go with someone that's reputable and not just a letter you got randomly in the mail. That would be the main advice I would give.
Thank you.
One. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Megan.
Yes, you're so welcome. All right, Jessica, give you a kiss. Mwah. All right. Thank you for staying on, being with us for the Q&A.
I do want to say something last though, in the past, I'll be freaking out. Oh shit, I have all this debt. But then now a totally different mindset. I'm so happy and proud and recognize that, because to me, I never was in debt. Growing up from my background, it's like never, it's not allowed pretty much to be in debt. But then I look at it's not a debt, it's an investment, because I'm investing something that I'm building. And also I'm just, being entrepreneur, we got to do that, and also being a man with all the sisters. And I know so many of you all already share, how much credit card debt before you became extremely successful. That is very inspiring. So I feel like I'm just going through the journey.
Yes, it's the rite of passage, I think, for so many of us. And it is part of the journey. I love that you're reframing that and really looking at how it's investment in yourself.
Yeah, because I'm not feeling like in the past I'll be freaking out, scared. No, because now I have a strategy and I have plan. So I just need to take action one step at a time, and then it's gonna go through. It's amazing. I can totally see it's all about the work and the mastermind, the support and the group right here with you, with Sage, and all other sisters. So I just want to say thank you so very much.
You're so welcome. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And what a beautiful note to end on. And just reminding you all to see how can you choose in any moment to turn around any of those beliefs, the negative talk, the inward voice that can be so hard on each of us. We all have one of those voices, however it sounds, that can be just really firm and reprimanding. And how can you turn that around into curiosity and, okay, this isn't what I want forever. This is how it is right now. What could I do right now to take one step towards more of what I do want, more of how I do want to feel in my life? What's that step I could take? So just encourage you to take a big breath and get out for a moment, move your body, whether that means right there inside, depending on where you are in the world, what it's like. And if you can get outside and just breathe the fresh air, feel yourself and feel the expanse of the world around you, from just looking up at the sky, staring out at the trees, looking out at water, feeling how the natural elements are holding you and supporting you, and the ground beneath you is holding you and supporting you, and you get to connect into that and tap into that, and then choose your next action from there. Sending you big love, and look forward to seeing you on calls next week, some of you on calls next week. And just sending you lots of love. Keep posting your questions in the Facebook groups. Keep leaning into sisterhood for support. Book calls with your buddies, your board of directors. You are not in this alone. You're doing it together. Go ahead and unmute yourselves, letting out one sound that matches.
Our sister.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.